By November 8 and November 15 approach of Lima Lufthansa 4009.
Well, everybody, welcome to the second stream of thrust set simulations. The first start today, I got off to a bad start with forgetting to turn the microphone on for 15 minutes. But anyway, we're here today at Frankfurt at gate Charlie 14. We're on Vatsim, and we're in the Fenix Airbus A320 with the new Evo United livery. We're going to be doing a flight today for United Virtual Airlines Ops. And we're going to be going from Frankfurt, Echo Delta Foxtrot, to Oslo, which is Echo November Golf Mike. Now, the route I filed today was off of flight radar, and a lot of the routes I've noticed lately on flight radar are almost like direct line shots, even though if you were actually to plot that out with airways and stuff, it would be a little bit crooked, but they've been direct flights. Like, for example, yesterday I flew down from Oslo to here, do the return flight, and basically they flew part of the departure, and then it was directly south 180 degrees direct to Hamburg, and then a couple more waypoints straight down continuing, and then boom, the arrival. And when I tried to file that today, they gave me a significant reroute. So I did file the route that I had plucked off of radar 24, flight radar 24, put it in, and I logged on to Vatsim earlier, and sure enough, they gave me a reroute. So we're going to have to spend a little time redoing the route in the FMC today. Well, let's get in the aircraft here. When I did fire it up, I did end up getting... Okay, and again, the stream stopped working for some reason, not sure why, but anyway. Okay, so we just got power going, battery 1, battery 2, we got the nav lights on. We do have a lot of traffic here at Frankfurt. I think we had upwards of 12 aircraft on the ground, so I've decided to turn off MSFTL because it'll get too confusing. Let's see how many we have now here. We have, well, it's down to 6 now, so.
The 409er, contact tower 119.9, ciao.
And we have ground
and
we have ground and tower on, so I'm going to, for the time being, I'm going to turn off the pilot right now, just because it's a little bit kind of disruptive. So let me go to the audio here and turn down the, okay, there we go. Okay, so I've got to remember to turn that back up. Okay, so now let's go to the overhead panel here. And we're going to turn on the ADIRs, number 1, number 2, and number 3. And this will say in battery here until these are, until this alignment light goes out. Okay, there we go. We're going to turn off the captain. Put that in captain mode. And then we're going to turn on the crew supply. We're going to turn on the ground control. We're going to test the CVR. There it is. Now we come up to the panel here, and these aren't going to work until we get the little reversion clicks here that should come on in just a second. We're going to leave the fuel off for the time being, the fuel pumps off until we get our fuel loaded, and then we're going to come down here and turn up all the lights in the aircraft. It's a little dark today. We're going to turn on the no smoking sign. We're going to turn on the emergency light, and we're going to turn this up to aft here. Let's see if these will work. Well, they might work because I did a restart of the Fenix app. But typically when you turn on ground power, it goes for about 30 seconds, 40 seconds, then you hear kind of a chirping sound. Okay, so we still have... We still have that, so let's see if I can...
Flight plan route, climb via SIT to altitude 4000 feet, squawk 1000.
I guess we're going to have that going for a while. I'm not sure how to turn it down.
Information Lima current.
Okay, so here we go. So all that is set. Let's,
Lufthansa 222 correct, report your target off stop time.
Let's check the annunciator lights. They all look good, and all the lights are coming on here. Let's go down to the lower panel and check those. And those are on as well. Now we'll come back to the panel here. Okay, so annunciator lights are all working good, so let's turn that off. Okay, there we go. And we want to make sure all the lights are turned up here. They are. So we'll come down to the lower panel, and we want to make sure the rudder angle is set to 0. We want to lock the door. And I always turn these on. Okay, they're already on. And I'm going to turn the floodlights all the way up just because it's dark in here today for some reason. And I always turn on the PA, that's always up. Now we want to make sure the parking brake is set, the speed brake is stowed, the flaps are up, the throttles are in the idle position, and also want to make sure the landing gear is down. Okay, so all that's good. So perfect. Now what we're going to do is come over and we're going to start the boarding so we can get that out of the way. And our departure time today is 12:15, and I left a little extra time just because I know it's going to take a little time to load in the new routing. Okay, so these are our passengers today, fuel. So now we're going to load the aircraft. Oh. Okay, so load sheet sent. So why can't we not load the aircraft? Okay, so reset all. Alright. And now let's go back to my flight. Tap to import from SimBrief. Dismiss. Okay, there it is. We're going to do that. Update. We're going to update this to 12:15. And we're going to update that. Okay, very good. Now we should be able to have all of this here. And we should be able to load the aircraft. So load the aircraft. Ah, real time. There we go. Let's make sure, okay, there's cargo, and there's a fuel. Let's make sure we get some board. There it is, there's some boarding. All right, so now we're going to let that go. And now we're going to come to the FMC and start dealing with that. So we're not going to put in the route. Normally what you would do is you would come to the MCDU, which we're actually going to do that. Okay, come to here. And then come to the AOC menu, and then flight init.
Frankfurt,
and this will initiate our flight.
Lufthansa 255 vacated on Lima 5.
Lufthansa 255, Fenix on low, taxi to stand Victor 170 via November 3, November.
Let's see if I can do that.
Can you say it again, please?
Lufthansa 255, taxi to stand
Okay, so
Victor
that's all done. Perfect.
170
Now we're going to go
via
back to the
November
init,
3, November.
and we're going to do this ourselves. So
Taxi
we're going to go EDDF.
Victor 170 via
to
November 3 and November
ENGM.
Lufthansa 255.
So normally you would click the flight internet request and it would load everything in, but I don't want to load in that flight plan because it's too much hassle to undo it all. Okay, so 1067, and then the flight, and then the cost index on this flight was, I think, 46. Okay.
Lufthansa cargo 656
We're going
is
to
ready for taxi.
370. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to initialize the IRS, so we're going to align on ref. Confirm to align. So
Cargo
that's going.
656, confirm ready to taxi.
Confirm ready for taxi.
Now we come back to
Cargo
init.
656.
We're going to download the
Cargo
winds.
656,
Wind
runway
request.
07 center, taxi via November 15, hold short of Lima.
Hopefully this works. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so
November,
there it is.
November
Okay,
15
perfect.
and holding.
So the winds are loaded. Now we're going to come to the flight
Lufthansa
plan. So the flight plan is we're going to be departing off the 5 Echo, Maroon 5 Echo. So I need to find out what runway that is. So we're going to come to the SID and find out what Maroon 5 Echo is. Maroon 5 Echo. Maroon 5 Echo is Maroon 5, here, 5 Echo, okay? And so we're departing out of runway, so it's this one here, so we're going to be departing out of runway 7 center almost certainly. So let's go back to the screen and make sure I switch that back, okay? And we're going to be going to 7 center, and we're going to be going off the Maroon 5 Echo departure. Let's see where that is. Here it is, Maroon 5 Echo. Click. And temporary insert. Okay. Then from Maroon, and we're going to be going to Tolgi. So Maroon 5 Echo. And then we're going to be taking the Yankee 150 airway. Okay, Yankee 150 airway. And we're going to be going to Tolgi. So, Tolgi. There we go, temporary, insert that. Then after that, it's going to be direct to ALASA, L-A-L-A-S-A. And then after that, it's going to be INVOL, I-N, Victor, Oscar, Lima. And then after that, it's going to be SABAC, which is Sierra Alpha Bravo Alpha Kilo. Probably this one here. And then after SABAC, it's going to be LUNIP. Oh, L is going to be a waypoint, an airway here. We're going to be going Lima 997.
Lufthansa Cargo 656, contact
LUNIP.
tower 119.9, ciao.
119.9, Lufthansa Cargo
Okay, there
656,
we
thank
go.
you.
And now we're going to be landing on runway 19 left. So we're going to be landing on 19 left, the arrival, and we're going to be going to 19 left, and we're going to be going via the LUNIP. Whoa, there we go. Okay, we got to find out which LUNIP, which one we're going to. So, ENGM, give me a second while I figure out the star here. So, LUNIP. No, we're going to be doing the LUNIP for Lima arrival. Okay, and LUNIP 4, okay, and then is there a VIA? No VIA. Okay, so now we're going to insert that. Okay, there we go. Now the IRS appears to be aligned. So let's take a look now and see what this flight plan actually looks like. Okay, so we're going to come back now to the airport. Alright, so here we go. And we're going to depart below 2000, that's correct. And yeah, this looks nothing like the actual real flight. Well, it's kind of similar. But it was a direct shot, straight up from basically right over Denmark. Okay, there's LUNIP, and then no, that's not the right. LUNIP 4 arrival does not have just bad Exiva, so let's see. Let's see here. Oh, I see. So what we're going to do is we're going to go LUNIP, and then we have to go to DevCoo. We'll put that in. Oh, spelled it wrong. Let me get close here. All right, DEVKU. That's on the star, and there we need to be above 12,000. So we're going to put in 12,000. Oops, wrong one. That's not what. Okay, flight plan. Okay. We need this. Nope, that's not right. Okay, we want to clear that. We don't 12,000. Okay, we want to be at 12,000. Okay, there we go. And is there a speed limit? Max 250. So it's max 250. Okay, that's on the descent. And then after that comes after DevCoo comes GM 416. Okay, and there we need to be 220 and 11,000. And we need to be 220. And we need to be above, we need to be at 11,000.
Now station Frankfurt is closing, monitor Unicom.
Okay, there we go. And then, let's see, what does the then we're going to want to come to this. This just doesn't. Oh, I know why I have the wrong. Okay, so I need to get the approach up here for runway 19 left. So let's get the approach here. 19 left is okay. Yeah, and then Osbed and Titla. Okay, so we're going to come this 19 left. Okay, so after GM. Okay, so let's go back and get the star, and the star is Luna before Lima. And let's. I forgot we're landing on runway 19, so let's undo this.
Ground, Lufthansa
So we're coming here,
push and start.
runway 19, the arrival starts this again. Runway 19, we're not doing this one, we're doing the 19 left. When I did this yesterday, we came in on the ones.
Other traffic, Lufthansa
approach.
255, Frankfurt was closing, you have to
Star.
go to Unicom on what to do this, mate.
Stars,
Dankeschön.
Luna, or Mike, there we go.
Kein Problem.
Okay, temporary insert that, there we go. Okay, sorry for the confusion there. Invol, Sabac,
Is der Tower noch online?
Luna, okay, there we go. Luna,
Gerade wurde
Didax,
gesagt,
there we
dass
go, all those
Frankfurt
are all
geschlossen wird
correct.
und
So
alle
now we
sollen
have the
zu
right.
Unicom gehen. Keine Ahnung. Ja, dann mache ich das. Dankeschön, ne?
Okay, so now we have the route in there. Sorry about that. Okay, so secondary flight plan, we want to init in case we blow an engine, and Orest forgot his skis and golf clubs, and we have to come back. So there we go. And the cost index I said was 46. We're gonna put that in there. Oh no, we're going to leave that alone. So now we're doing the secondary. So now we come back to the secondary flight plan, and we go back to secondary flight plan, and we come to here, and we select the arrival. We're going to be coming in on 7 right, and no star, and no via. Okay, so that's that. Now we come to the secondary flight plan again, go to performance, and we click 1, 2, 3, 4, and here we are. So now it looks like ATC is going offline here. And so we have, yep, looks like they've all gone away. So we don't have any more ATC. Okay, so we don't have any more ATC. So we're going to kind of be on our own here for a while. But we'll go with the clearance that they gave us anyways. So the flight level, the flight level here is going to be 06, and the current, no, 60. And the current barometer, let's press the magic B key here. Let's make sure we put this into right here. There we go, 1020. So 1020 secondary, and temperature is 18. So put the temperature in 18. Current winds are 025 at 9. All right, and the barometer, in case we need to come back on for ILS 07 right, I believe is 528 feet, but we'll double check. And oh, I already had it in here, so let's see. It is 528 feet. Okay, so that's the MDA for that runway 7 right. Okay, so we're all done with that now. So now we can come up to the init, and we'll be ready to actually put in our zero fuel weight and the fuel and whatnot. So let's see where we are on the boarding process. We have 95 passengers boarded, all the cargo, all the fuel is in. All right, so we got 19.4 for fuel. So 19.4, and we got the payload in there, 10,000. All right, and we're just about ready few more passengers and we'll have the 0 fuel weight in. So let's go ahead and put in the fuel so we don't forget. So that was 19.4, I think I said. Alright, here we go. So since there's no ATC, I'm going to fire up the FSFTL program, give us some actual aircraft on the ground. You'll get to see how this process works here. So all these are set up, it'll connect, run down here, and if you want to change any of the settings here, you certainly can. Otherwise you just say no, and now it starts downloading. Oops. No, and then it connects to the Microsoft Flight Simulator, and then it starts downloading all the real aircraft that it has found online. So we're going to move that over here, and we're going to minimize. Okay, and there we go. So we also want to get the chart here for the departure. Okay, we're going to pin that. Okay, perfect. So that, and there we go. Okay. So we'll get rid of this. Okay, we'll get rid of these. Okay, so let's now go back to the. Let's make sure we clean up a few things here. I put these on, turn the VOR on over here, and I turn on VOR here, and I usually set this to max on the pilot non-flying side, which is the first officer today, and also put terrain on this for the heck of it. Okay, so now we can come up to the overhead and we can turn on the fuel pumps. Alright, and we can also turn on the seatbelt signs. Okay, I think we're all back on track here after a few goof-ups at the start of the stream. So now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to dial in, since there's no ATC online, we've already been cleared, so we're going to put 370, and I'm going to put 100 here as a reminder that we need to check and make sure we can actually get to that flight level. Okay, so double check now where we are. We only got another 8 passengers to go, so let's go outside here. And okay, baggage is already gone, so let's get rid of the catering. Get rid of the catering there. Yeah, this airport's a little stuttery for me. This will be we'll be leaving here, and then from Oslo we'll be going to a different airport. And so get rid of that. And Oslo there, it was fine in Oslo. I downloaded, this is the virtual FRA scenery that I got from flightsim.to, and at Oslo I got a flight scenery from a guy named, from somebody named Hergy123. Very nice scenery. It actually has people inside and glass windows, and it's actually a pretty nice scenery. There's a few screenshots of it I had for you in the intro. Okay, so let's come back inside and let's come over. 2 more people. Ground services, while we're at it, we can close up the cargo door there. Okay, now 10 minutes before departure, and we are about 15 minutes before departure, so the timing is okay. We're going to start the APU and let it run for 3 minutes, and after 3 minutes, after the fumes have cleared out, we're going to then select the APU bleed. 5 minutes before departure, we'll close up the gate and move away the jetway, and we'll turn on the beacon light and turn on the transponder, and then we'll be able to get going. About 1 minute and 15 seconds before we depart, I'll fire up the pushback and get us out of here. Boarding is complete. Okay, that means we can now come to the performance screen, and pretty handy here. So we're going to sync the final load sheet, and we're going to sync the weather. There we go. And we're going to be taking off 07 center. It's dry. We are going to be doing a PAX on takeoff, and so here's all our weights here. 146.7 is our takeoff weight. And let's go back to, well, we'll just, first of all, we'll do this. So we'll calculate. All right, so V1 is 152. V2 152, V2 155, V rotates 152, and we're going to be doing a flex today of 64, and we're doing a flaps 2 departure, and trim is up plus 0.1. Okay, so now let's go back to the mass and balance here and make a final note of our zero fuel weight. Our zero fuel weight was 127.8, so 127 point, round that up, 0.8. The zero fuel weight CG is 28.0. Alright, so now we're ready to go to the FMC and enter all this information in. So the zero fuel weight was 127.8, and the CG is 28.0. Go. We already got the block fuel in there, so this is already done. Now we're going to come to, we want to look at the progress page and make sure that, well, it's a little close, but we'll fly to 370 and see what flying at Coffin Corner is like. So yeah, we can make that. So let's come up over here and we'll bring this down. So there we go. Okay. Now let's put in the, let's get the performance done here. So we're going to come to the performance page and we're going to enter in the V1, which is 152. And V rotate was 152. V2 is 155. Okay. And let's see here. Okay. And then transition altitude is 5,000. We're going to be doing a flaps 2 and up, up 0.1. Okay, and we're going to be flexing 64. Okay, so we're going to go to the next phase here, and the next phase, and this is probably going to have us descending at a really high rate of speed, so we don't want that. So what we're going to do is 0.79 and descend at 280. That should be descent. Okay, there we go. And then the next phase, we can put in the information, the weather information that's currently at Oslo, and that information is, let's see, the weather is 180 at 13, so we got 180, 13. This may change and we'll revisit this during the flight. I like to just put it in here. Transition level, that's correct. The temperature is 10. And the QNH is 1013. Oh, pretty convenient. The weather was pretty nice the other day at Oslo, and then it got nasty. So today the wind has just been blowing like stink out there. And so now we're going to put in the MDA. And the MDA is right here, 882 feet. 882. And the barrel.
100 above, minimum.
We're ready to go. Okay. And notice now that we're all set here. So we have speed, we have dash dash dot, we have heading dash dash dot, we have the altitude set with the ball and 4 dashes. So that's all good. We got the pressure set here. We have all everything else here. And the flight directors are on. And we have all these here. So we are now 10 minutes before departure, so we are going to start the APU. And I'm kind of old school. I like to come over here and wait till the flap opens and then let her rip. Okay, flap is open, so we'll now start the APU just by clicking on that button there. And let's have a look at the overhead panel once again, just to make sure. Okay, the IRS is all good. These are all good. Everything over here is good. Fuel. Yeah, so we're all set here. And seatbelt signs are on. Okay, cool. Let's make sure, come down here, make sure everything's good. We're locked. Trim is 0. The squawk was 2052, so we'll put put that in. Okay, we'll make sure this is turned on. I was 1 yesterday, so I'm going to go 2 today. Make sure this isn't above. It's really easy to forget to change once you get to cruise, but we'll do that. And then we'll put guard up here. The guard frequency, universal guard frequency of 121.5, and then we're going to put Unicom in. We are now on Unicom over here. So let's do Unicom 122.8. So we just missed, they had full ATC on earlier, and then so we just missed it. Okay, so the let's see if the APU is ready to go. APU is available, so we'll start the chronometer here, and at 3 minutes we'll turn on the bleed. Meanwhile, though, we'll turn off the ground power here, and we'll go over to the pushback and get rid of the power, and then we'll come over to the ground services here and make sure this is disconnected, and we'll turn off the cones too. We'll leave that on until we turn on the APU bleed. So all we need to do is close up the gate. Okay, so we're kind of right on schedule here. Let me make sure the ACARS is looking good. Try to forget that. Okay, we're doing good there. So while we're waiting, I can brief the departure. So we are located again over here on gate Charlie 14. We're going to push back facing west, and we're going to taxi November all the way down to Lima 21, and then we're going to get on the runway 07 center and take off. Now, yesterday I ended up lining up on the taxiway by mistake, had to make a U-turn and come back, so we'll try not to do that today. Once we are ready to go, we will then basically depart runway 7 center, and about 800 feet or so we'll make a right turn to 2.0 miles from Frankfurt, and then we'll head on out to the departure. There are no restrictions on this, and the transition altitude is 5,000. If we do need to come back, we will circle around and to the right, and we'll circle around to the right and then line up for another approach for runway 7's right. And so we already have that programmed in the box, so that should be easy. So don't worry about your golf clubs and your skis, Horst. We'll land and we'll pick them up and take off again. So we got another 50 seconds, and then we'll fire up the APU bleed. We only have 4 people here at the airport, so not too bad. Shouldn't be much of a problem. Let's see if we have anybody in the chat here. Nope. Okay, so all good there. Let's check and see how the stream is doing. And stream looks like it's doing good. Okay. Stream is healthy. Okay, close that out. Alright, so it's now 3 minutes, so let's come over here and turn on the APU bleed, and once we've done that, we can come back to the ground services here, and we can turn that on. Okay. Now we have time now is 11, so we have 4 minutes left. So we're now going to close up the door and pull back the jet bridge. So let's get rid of the jetway. And we'll turn on the beacon light, and we'll turn on our transponder. Don't forget that. So transponder's on. Okay. There we go. Got a company message, so let's take a look at what that is. I think it's just a load sheet. Alright, so we'll come over to AOC menu, receive messages, and all these load sheets. Okay. right. And we'll accept. And we'll accept. We had a few late arrivals to the aircraft, so we're good there. And we're going to put this on progress. Okay, so now a few more minutes and 3 more minutes or so, and we will be departing. So let's get the pushback set up. And we're going to do pushback. Oh, no,
Cockpit to ground.
No, cancel pushback.
This is ground. Stand by.
Stop pushback.
Ground. Please cancel pushback operation. Roger.
We're going to pre-plan the
canceled.
pushback. Hopefully today this will work. We have a new overlay that I've got overhead here, so let me know in the comment section or in chat here what you think of that, if it's too big. I like the one that V1 Simulations was using, but when I put it on the stream here, it looked a little big, and I just didn't have time to figure out how to edit it, so I went with another one that they have. It's from Fly Live, and one of our members helped me yesterday with that. I'm quite grateful. Okay, so now it is 13. So at 13 and 50 seconds. Okay, so another going to want to request a pushback, and so that would be right about now. We're going to request pushback.
Cockpit to ground. This is ground. Stand by.
Okay, and so that looks good. Doors are all closed up, so now we can come to my flight and come here with the map. When you activate the pushback plug in here and you hear them talking to you, you know you're going to be okay. The problem comes when
Okay, sir.
it'll line up sometimes without even saying anything.
All ground equipment is removed.
Then you know you're going to have
The
a lot of
parking
trouble.
brakes are set. You may lift. Parking brake set. Lifting to aircraft.
So we have another 1 minute 10 seconds ahead of time allows you to start right on
We
time.
are cleared
without
for
having
start
to
and
wait.
push. Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Okay, so we have another 5-6 seconds forward, and then we'll release the brake. And we're starting now, right on time.
Parking brakes are
Parking
released.
brake is released.
Commencing pushback.
And
You
away
can
we
start
go.
the engines in sequence. It will start in the sequence.
Yeah, James, I really appreciate your help yesterday. I got the overlay going. I had to edit it some because there's a big space in the middle, but let me know how it works. And man, I got off to a rough start today. I did the first 15 minutes of the stream without my microphone being on. So I just shut it down and started over. It's not one thing, it's another. All right, we're going to start the engine now. So the APU bleed is on, so we'll turn the crank to start, and we should see bleed pressure show up if I have the engine overlay on. There it is, bleed pressure is good. We're going to start engine number 1. Oh, lever's not at idle? Okay, there we go.
Frankfurt traffic, Lufthansa Mike Kilo on stand Alpha to
Okay,
Zero.
we're starting.
Pushing
Okay, 20%. We have N2, we have EGT, and we have N1. Welcome aboard, James, by the way. Glad to have you here. Hope you find something enjoyable in the stream today. I think we've got all our act together now. I want to get out of this airport. It's very stuttery, this particular Frankfurt. It's the virtual FRA. I may need to go back to the default one. Okay.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Okay, parking brake is set.
Parking brake set. Parking brake set. Lowering
And we
aircraft.
should be available here in a second.
Ground. Startup is complete. You may disconnect.
How are the
Roger.
volumes,
Good engine
James?
start.
Can you hear me
Cleared to
okay
disconnect.
and
See
whatnot?
you at the side. Have a good flight. Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
And Okay, so we're available, so we're going to do the second one. Engine 2 starting up. Now we're going to assume that they drove away and that they showed us the pin. And so that means we can now do other things like set the flaps, which I don't want to forget. I can also set the auto brake to max, and I can arm the speed brake. There we go. I can also turn on the weather and turn on the predictive wind shear. So we got that out of the way. And so now starting up. And temperatures are coming up together here. Flaps 2 is selected and indicating. And we are available. So now we can turn off the ignition here. And we can also turn off the autopilot, the APU bleed, and turn off the APU. Now what we want to do is check our flight controls, make sure everything's good there. So left aileron, full left neutral, right aileron, full left neutral, elevator, full up and neutral, elevator down, full down and neutral. And now we're going to come to the rudder here. Okay, rudder, full left and neutral, and full right and neutral. Okay, now we want to get our trim set to plus 0.1, so yep, nope, down, up 0.1. There we go. So that's all set. Now we want to do our takeoff config and make sure there's no blue, and we're ready to go. Alright, so now we're going to turn on the taxi light, and we're going to turn on our runway light and make a radio call. And Frankfurt traffic, United 1067, Charlie 14, going to taxi to runway 07 center via November, Lima 21, Frankfurt. Okay, brake off and throttle up a little bit. And we're off. Okay, we're currently 7-8 knots, so we'll pull back the throttle. A taxi around 10 knots, 10 to 15 knots, so when you're in the ramp area. You can go up to 20 to even 30 knots once you're out of the ramp area. I don't usually taxi that fast on this airport. It's very stuttery. It's so bad yesterday. Alright, so let's take a look. Center line there. Let's give a little bit more throttle here. When we get a little further up here, we'll ding the flight attendants and let them know we're about ready to take off. See, here's where we're taxiing now, so we're going to come right down to here, and we're going to get on the runway, take off, and then turn left at 800 feet, or thereabouts. We'll just follow the FMC, because we'll be nabbing on the way out of here. Okay, now we can pull back on the throttles, and we need to be racing down here. Let's take a look at our outside views. There we go, not bad. Cool. Wow, fly-by-wire.
Frankfurt traffic, Lufthansa 9 Mike Kilo, taxi via November 7, Lima, Oslo, Lima, runway 1.077, Lima to 0, runway 077.
Frankfurt traffic, United 1067 is on November, approaching November 8. Going to continue on to Lima 21 for runway 07 center, Frankfurt.
Yeah, so I'm number 2 and I see you.
Fantastic. Okay, time now to ding the flight attendants and let them get a chance to get seated. Here we go. Now around November 15, we want to start paying attention because it gets a little confusing up ahead here. And like I said the other day, I ended up, first time I did this, I went too far. The second time I ended up lining up on the taxiway. So that's a pretty noob mistake, but I usually take off out of runway 18 out here, and so it's kind of unusual. But they gave me 07 center, so I'm just going to go with it. Okay, so November 13, 14 and 15 is on the other side of those buildings there, and then we'll get Lima 21 and get on out of here. Okay, 14, I'm going to slow down a little bit here, a little on the fast side. Let's get under 20 knots. There we go, 19 knots. Now we don't have to be 10 knots here because we're not making a 90-degree turn, so we can make this turn like this, nice and easy. If you want to make a 90-degree turn, you want to slow down to 10 knots. Don't want to be too aggressive on these turns, nice and smooth. So we're coming up here on November 15. So on the left will be two choices. You're going to have Lima 20 and Lima 21. You want Lima 21. Yeah, just an hour ago there was 12 people online here. We had ground, tower, we had Langen radar, and we actually had center on as well. Langen radar would be the approach. Okay, so this first one is Lima 20. We don't want that.
Lufthansa 9 Mike Kilo, taxi 200 not via Lima, but via November 7, November.
Frankfurt traffic, United 1067 is on November at Lima 21, getting ready to line up and depart. Runway 07 center, United 1067. Okay, here we go.
Frankfurt traffic, crest off 53 normal, crossing midfield 1000 on the south side, general aviation.
Holding short, Lima 0.
Right, Frankfurt traffic United 1067 is lining up runway 07 center. Okay, so turn on the lights, we're cleared for takeoff.
Frankfurt traffic, Condor 2114, Bravo for pushing bay.
Those landing lights are really fiddly, and took me a while to get them turned on. Okay, here we are. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to spool up to 50%, and then we're going to go to flex takeoff. Well, here we go. So spool them up 50.
Frankfurt traffic, Christoph 53 normal, clear runways, landing general aviation south side.
Looks like I stopped streaming for a while there. I don't know where I stopped and where I started, but I may have to change encoders. Just got an encoder error of some kind. That's the
Airborne, passing 154.
I have to constantly keep watching this. Make sure we're still streaming. Okay, so at this point, increase the range a little bit. So here we are on the departure. So we just passed Teska. Now we're going to go to Aldi and then Maru and then on the rest of the way. Go. Looks like we have some ATC on in Oslo. Right here, this is Oslo's where we're going. We're right here now. We're going to be heading up to Oslo. Let's check the ATIS and see what's happening there. Arrival ATIS, 19 left, 19 right. Okay, we're going to be coming in on 19 left. Music going here and see Stream health seems to be doing okay. At 18,000, we need to have turned off the wing light here, and we can release the passengers. And the no smoking sign goes off. Smoke them if you got them. And we seem to be stable for the moment. Looking pretty good. I think I like it. I'm going to try this other overlay just so I can see kind of how it looks, because I wasn't sure I really liked it, but I want to see just briefly here how it looks on stream. So let me just try that out. I'll review later. No, that's not the one. Let me turn the overlay off for a second. And turn that off. And let me get the one I want here. Oh, let's put it in. Why does it always do this? Change the overlays. Okay, there it is. Alright, let's see how this looks. Yeah, this looks a little too big, I'm thinking. So I'm going to go back to the other overlay. Severe stuttering. Microsoft scenery just looks fantastic. Look at the detail down there in that city. Yeah, it's just incredible how far it's simulators have come since I first started 20 years ago doing this. And the machines back then weren't any good. Now the actual computer hardware has gotten pretty fantastic, but this is just unbelievable that we can have a simulator that looks like this. It's almost real. And the way Microsoft is able to stream this stuff and get it to look like this is just nothing short of amazing. Flight now, we're cruising on up, flight level 310. We'll be passing over the northern coast of Germany, through Bremen airspace, so the northern coast of Germany, over Hamburg and up to the coast, and then we'll be crossing from Copenhagen from one end to the other, and then after we get past Copenhagen, we'll be heading into Norway and we'll start our descent. Let's turn this up a little bit more. You all are having a good Saturday. It's Saturday afternoon here on the west coast of the United States, and hope you're having a good day today. It's beautiful weather here today. Not sure how good a time Saturday afternoon is for streaming. People usually have a lot of things going with family and stuff, but thought I'd give it a shot. Thought I might catch some ATC. If you're in Europe, if you're too late in the afternoon, you're not going to get any ATC at all. But in the morning, of course, you have quite a bit of ATC. In fact, most of Europe is covered, and so may have to switch things up a little bit, try streaming on a Saturday morning. I know QA Pilot was streaming this morning, so it's a trick to sometimes stream when you don't have the big streamers streaming, because you'll end up with no audience. But, well, we'll see. My next stream will be Monday morning, and we'll try to go from Oslo to one of the other destinations in the United schedule. Let's see what they have actually departing out of, let's see what we have departing out of Oslo. I think we have maybe Heathrow, which would be a good one to go to. Check the schedule here. So we have Brussels, we have Frankfurt, we have Munich, and we have Heathrow, and we have Stockholm. I think maybe we'll go to Heathrow. Well, that should be pretty good. That's a 2-hour flight or so. Stockholm was kind of short, only an hour. So yeah, I think Monday we'll go Monday morning. We'll try streaming, and we'll go from Norway to Heathrow, and maybe we'll take one other destination after that. Maybe we'll do a 2-sector day. Stream says excellent right now, so hopefully we aren't going to have any more of these splits that we've been getting. The stream just stops running with an encoder error. Coming up on flight level 350, and we'll see how this aircraft handles 370. Take a look outside. Wow, look at that. That's just stunning. For those of you that started off at FS95 or FS2004 like I did FS2000, this just has to just blow you away. Yeah, that's just unbelievable how good the color matching is. No color dispatching for as far as you can see in any direction. It's pretty amazing. I know my ortho I downloaded for XP doesn't look like this. So I think Microsoft's got this part figured out pretty well. Let's turn the sim down a little bit. Might be a little loud side. Weather looking like, oh, we got an ATIS here, so we can take a look at that. There's the ATIS at, well, that's Frankfurt. So we want the arrival. Oh, there's an ATIS too. Okay, here we go. So we're runway 19 and use, 19 right. That's for departure. And arrival, I think it's 19 left. Oh, no, yeah, 19 left. That's what we're going to be doing. What are the winds? 190 at 12. Not bad. UMAP. For some reason the map's not showing up today. Not sure why that is. I usually get the map on here, no problem. It'll have your track where you're going. 365. We're coming up on the our cruise altitude of 370, and we're climbing at a pretty slow rate, so that's good. Floating the passengers in the back. So the arrival time today should be, let's see, I think it's 14:10 should be the arrival, so we have another hour or so to go. The freeware airport that I downloaded for Oslo is pretty nice, by Hergi1234. I may put a link to that in the description below. But it's a pretty nice airport. And it has even the interior of the airport is modeled. You can even have people or not. For people, you need to download that Dave's People's Library or something like that, which I did. And it didn't seem to be much of a performance hit, although he says there is some. So we'll check that out once we arrive in Oslo. I fly to so many different airports, and I rarely fly back and forth in and out of the same airport multiple times. So I'm not really a big payware airport kind of guy. If this channel, if I was one of the big streamers and they're making quite a bit of money with memberships and ads and so on, you have the money to spend on all kinds of airports. But I may get there at some point. But I just enjoy looking out the window and checking out the scenery of various places around the world. You know, like I did a stream, the first attempt at actually doing this, I did a flight over the Sahara Desert. I was flying from Abuja, Nigeria, back to Frankfurt in took us right over the Sahara Desert from one end to the other, north and south, and it was a pretty interesting scenery out there. It's not just sand. There's a lot of rocks and mountains and all kinds of different things, sand dunes, and the colors vary quite a bit from yellow to orange, and there's some green in there, and it's kind of interesting to check it out. The clouds have gotten really good at Microsoft Flight Simulator as well. I noticed that I was flying by some clouds. There were some clouds. There should be some clouds when we fly into Oslo today. There was when I departed there. And the beautiful volumetric fluffy clouds. And we climbed through a cloud layer. The thing about Microsoft Flight Simulator, though, is this turbulence model and just the ground handling physics are just not very good. It makes, you can really be disruptive trying to depart out of here with a plane bobbing up and down all over the place in a very unrealistic way, I'm pretty sure. And so especially on final approach too, when you're coming in, you got a nice stable approach going, all of a sudden the airplane just pitches up because of a wind, some kind of a weird thing going on, and the airplane gets tossed around and now you're all out of whack. High on approach suddenly, and the engines are spooled up because your speed dropped, and it's not very fun. They need a lot of work in that regard. And takeoff characteristics are kind of wonky too. And Amir over at Fenix commented a lot on the takeoff characteristics. He's absolutely right with kind of results you get with the rudder input and then having the aileron, and then just, you saw when I took off there, it's, you always get the aircraft sort of leans one direction or the other. And apparently that's not very realistic. So, and I got a lot of that around Frankfurt. So the way they model turbulence too doesn't seem to be very realistic. But the scenery part, they've got that figured out really well. And the clouds, rain, and all of that is good. The aircraft now in Flight Simulator are also getting to be very good. They got the PMDG 737, the Fenix. The first stream I did was in the EDDF A320. That's a pretty nice aircraft that flies really well. And the ATR just came out, and I guess there's been a lot of controversy over that. A lot of controversy over the over some of the other aircraft like the E-Jets, FSS, which I have, and I'm enjoying that aircraft, to be honest. When they get a few more updates to it, it gets to be a little easier to operate. I'll stream that. Maybe the next flight we'll do in the PMDG 737. Fly that into Heathrow. There's supposedly an update coming for the Fenix A320 here shortly, and Amir had a very lengthy post in his Discord server about the updates that are coming and all the things they did, and it looks to be massive. And so everybody is looking forward to that, and I'll certainly stream that when it comes out. The other thing that seems to be really popular lately is this auto ortho, and so I'm an ortho for XP kind of guy. I have a lot of ortho for X-Plane because I did fly X-Plane a lot, and I still want to. I have a little performance issues with it that I need to straighten out, which I plan to do here this coming week. But I'm very interested to try out the auto ortho, and I know XP72 has been doing a couple streams with it, and it looks pretty good. It looks like it works really well. My own personal opinion about that so far is that I think V-States ortho looks better, and so I think if you're going to fly in the US and you already have the V-States downloaded, that I know I do, and I'm going to continue using that. But where auto ortho looks like it might be spectacular is anywhere outside the United States. If you venture into places like Mexico or the Central America, or anywhere outside the United States, the ortho is pretty hit or miss, and there's different sources. You have to constantly check the different sources. You got USA, you got Bing, you got Google, you got ARC, you got the NAD something or other, and you got to check each one to make sure there's no clouds, the color matches right, and all that. And so, country to country, it varies tremendously. It's a lot of hassle to get the ortho to look right, and I have it for a bunch of the world now. But if auto ortho looks as good outside the U.S. as it does inside the U.S., then yeah, that's a must-have. I'll probably go with it. And so I'm going to fiddle with that, install it, and try to see what's going on. I might make a video on how to install it properly, and give you my thoughts on that. But it's about time they had streaming ortho coming for X-Plane. It really is a lot of hassle, and it requires a lot of storage. I have an 8 terabyte hard disk that's virtually full, and if I could delete most of that and clean up my scenery.ini folder without having all those links in it, yeah, that would be great. It might even make X-Plane run better. But the resolution didn't look that great low to the ground in the streams I've seen of it, because they're at zoom level 15 or 16, whatever it is. In the V-States, it's been color optimized, and I know Vertical spent a lot of time getting that right. For most of the states, he did not get, there's 2 states he didn't do. Wisconsin, I think, maybe Michigan. There's 2 states that he didn't end up getting to. And California ends up being a little on the orange side, so I kind of got my own ortho over there. And for people that have downloaded the Orbex Southern California series West Coast stuff, the Pacific Northwest, yeah, that's going to look a lot better. I don't have that, but I do have my own ortho in California. But the V-State stuff is really, really good. I also want to find out how well this auto ortho works with AutoGen like SimHeaven, because I have that for all of his stuff loaded, and it really adds a lot to the sim. And you can load that stuff right on top of the ortho. So I got to make sure that that all works correctly. And also the overlays. When you download ortho scenery, you also make an overlay for it that places all kinds of things on top of the ortho. So I got to see how all that kind of works. I got a feeling it works pretty well. It seems like you just fire up the app and go. You don't worry about it, and I think that's its biggest value. And you can pretty much go anywhere in the world you want. Be assured you've got ortho scenery for it. The other aircraft I have a real strong interest in is an XP. It's that new E-Jets. I did watch the stream from the developer, the interview that was done with Q8 Pilot, and it was very good. It was very open and forthwith about what that product was and wasn't. And it's way ahead of the E-Jets, the FSS E-Jets, that's for sure. It seems like a pretty good aircraft, although there's been a lot of controversy surrounding both aircraft, which, to me, life's too short to have the kind of heated emotions that people seem to generate over things going on in Flight Simulator. And I think if an aircraft is fun to fly it. If it has a few idiosyncrasies, well, okay. Given you're not flying a real aircraft, and you'll never fly an aircraft in the sim that's perfectly comparable to the real thing, it just isn't going to happen. And even the Level D simulators aren't perfect. They have their idiosyncrasies, and you can read about people that have talked about those kinds of things on YouTube. So I think it's a matter of what you enjoy doing. And for me, I enjoy, kicking back in an aircraft and looking out the window and checking out the scenery. And I also enjoy an aircraft that flies well. I do like the systems. I am a kind of a study level sort of guy, and when an aircraft is study level, I really enjoy it a lot more than I would, say, a default aircraft. I don't actually fly many default aircraft, to be honest. They're just not interesting enough for me, not so much fun. But aircraft like this Fenix, man, this thing is great. The PMDG, even the INI 310, it's free at Microsoft, is fun to fly. But the aircraft, they have to behave well, and they have to have most of the features, done correctly. And by that, I don't mean they have to be absolutely 100% full feature. The FSS E-Jets 175 is pretty fun to fly, even though it doesn't have a custom FMS. It uses the default one, and there's some idiosyncrasies and workarounds you got to do to make that right. And it doesn't have VNAV, but fortunately, you have a brain and you know how to calculate top of descent, and you should know how to use flight level change and vertical speed to sort of control your descent, and that's fun to do too. It's actually a lot more fun than just pressing a VNAV button and descending. So, but aircraft that are free, a lot of them, they're real pitchy and hard to control. They're not much fun to fly. I don't really like those, so I get people complain about those. I get it, but from what I've seen on stream, that the X-plane, the X-Crafters E175 looks like a pretty good aircraft. Is it perfect? No. Does it model a real aircraft perfectly? I don't think any aircraft, any sim does. But is it fun to fly? It looks like it's really fun to fly. Gosh, look at this scenery. Look at this city down here. I was commenting before that when Microsoft Flight Simulator first came out, the ortho to me didn't look very good. It seemed kind of blurry and kind of low res. But I think they've done something to improve that a lot, because this looks really, really good. It looks really comparable to anything I've downloaded in X-Plane 12 in terms of sharpness. And even pretty close to the ground, it's not bad. You don't get that blurred out. And I get that sometimes in X-Plane, because the orthos I've downloaded are all zoom level 15. Number one, if you want to do 17 for the whole world, you have a hard drive that's just mashed full of data, and then it takes a long time for that data, the way I have it on my hard drive, because it's USB plugged into my computer and the USB, and it takes too long to upload, so you get a lot of delays in the scenery showing up. Zoom level 15, it looks just as good as this at this altitude, and it loads in pretty fast. So we'll see what that auto ortho looks like. I'm quite curious about that. I started reading about that about 3-4 months ago. I know people were working on it, and I didn't think it would work very well, but it looks like it does. So kudos to the guys that developed that. That's going to be a game changer for a lot of people who weren't flying X-Plane because they just didn't like the scenery, and didn't like the hassle of ortho and all of that. And so it's going to be big for a lot of people, including myself maybe. I do fly outside the United States a lot. United Virtual Airlines has between 750 and 800 destinations to fly to. So, and they're all over the world. And of course, there's a lot of them in the United States, but you've got a lot of airports all over India and Europe, and Asia, Australia, down into Africa, the Middle East, and Japan, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia. Even Papua New Guinea, we have a flight down there. We're used to. So I spend a lot of time flying outside the United States, and also enjoy the different kinds of ATC you get outside the United States. So I think the auto ortho might be a pretty good way for me to go. So I'm going to experiment with that, I think, maybe tomorrow, the next couple of days. I'm going to try running my X-Plane on an M.2 drive. I have slots for 2 of those in my motherboard. I just haven't plugged one in. It's fairly new technology for me. But I'm going to go down to Micro Center, buy either a 1 or 2 terabyte M.2 SSD, and then plug that into my computer, and then put all of X-Plane onto it and see if X-Plane runs a lot better. And then I'll try the auto ortho from there. I'll probably head down there tomorrow, pick that drive up. So we're currently over, just about ready to go. We're going to be flying into Copenhagen. We're still in Bremen airspace, but we have another, maybe 10 miles and we'll be into Copenhagen. Just about on the border of Copenhagen now. You can see the coastline running up here. That's still Germany. And then it'll be on the other side there. Let me see if I can do this. So over in here is Copenhagen. So actually Copenhagen starts right here. So we'll be crossing the northern coast of Germany. So we'll be heading on out over there. That Copenhagen should be right over here. This is actually Copenhagen, Denmark. And so this is the border of Denmark, goes basically right along this, right along here, kind of right off in the middle of the city. Yeah, it goes right off in the middle of this little bay here. Here's the map of where we are, by the way. You can see we're coming up to Cup, and we're heading on to our next waypoint. It's 271 nautical miles away to our next waypoint, way on the other side of Copenhagen. You can see the green border there. Okay, we're now in Denmark. We have another, let's see, it's 13:11, so we have another 1 hour to go. We'll be there. Okay, I have a company message. Let's check that out. Receive messages. UAL Ops. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, Oris thanks us for going back and getting his golf clubs. Perfect. All right. Now we can start, how many more miles do we have to go? We have, okay, so now in the secondary flight plan, let's copy the act. Okay, there we go. And then on the progress page, our performance, let's see how far we have. We have 236 miles. We have 236 miles to top of the descent. Okay, so now on the progress page, put in Oslo, 19 left, and we'll put that in. I'll tell us. It's a point of reference, 318 miles. So let's see how good a top of descent this is. So what one of the things we could do is we could come to our arrival here. Let's see, we don't need that, so let's get rid of this. And we need to get our arrival. We're going to be on the Luna Luna 4 Mike arrival. So max, we need to be under 12,000. So we need to be at 9,000 at GM 426. Okay? So we're currently at 370, so that's 26,000 feet we have to descend. So 26 times 3 is 78. So we want to add in 10 miles. So 88, and see if we have a tailwind here. No, we don't. Okay, so 78, let's call it 90 miles from GM 426. We want to be 250 knots at 9,000 feet. Okay, so let's see where that is. So here we are. So we have 11 and 32, so that would be 43.7. 43 and 15 is 68. What did I say? 43 and 15, 58. So 58 miles to Luna, and then we have 58, so we need to be about 32 miles before Luna. So let's see where that puts us. So here's Luna, and so that's 5. So that's 38 or 40, 48, 50. What did I say? That's 43 and 50. 58. Okay, so 58. So 58, that's 65, and that's 90. So right at Zenta should be the top of the center, pretty close to Zenta. So let's see. Oh, 1 mile away. Okay, so it's actually perfect. So the top of descent is actually exactly correct. So you can see how easy this is. So if you don't have VNAV, you can calculate this exactly. Actually, it is Zenta, because it just the 1 mile just went away. So the top of descent is at Zenta. Okay. I keep forgetting to switch the screen. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, so we just calculated back from here and realized that the top of descent should be at Zenta, and you can see that the calculated top of descent based on the FMC is basically right there. So at Zenta, we're going to do our descent. Now so what I typically do in this aircraft is 5 miles before the computed top of descent, I will click the manage descent button. So that would be the up arrow here. You push, and the aircraft will start descending at 1,000 feet per minute. That way it starts going down gently. You don't end up floating the passengers in the back by an aggressive pitch down, because the aircraft is diving to try and catch the profile. So what'll happen is you'll go to 1,000 feet per minute, and then the aircraft will catch the profile and then start descending more rapidly. But then that's hardly noticeable, going from 1,000 to 2,000 to 2,500, which is about what it'll be. So the top of descent that's calculated by the FMC, we just calculated at Zenta, and there it is, exactly at Zenta. So if you didn't have this top of descent calculation done for you, what you would have done is done the calculation I just showed you how to do, and you would have started down, 5 before Zenta, and you would have used level change, or you would have used some combination of level change and vertical speed, depending on how you want to do it, and adjust either your speed brakes, or the rate of descent. You have some tools available to you that are pretty handy. This aircraft, though, does it all for you, so it makes it really easy. You don't have to do any calculations. I usually do those calculations anyway, just to back up the top of descent, just to make sure. Where you can get kind of into trouble is on some of these RNAV arrivals into Europe, they have a long downwind. They'll make like a back and forth because they have a lot of traffic. So what they do is they funnel the traffic into a zigzag pattern. So you're going back and forth, and of course that adds a lot of extra track miles. And you know, if you don't think about what you're doing, you're going to end up being very high. You're going to end up being very high because it's thinking it has all those track miles to descend. When all of a sudden ATC clears you to, you know, direct, and you're 10,000 feet too high. So you have to be a little bit careful about what you're doing there. And but generally speaking, it's good practice to calculate the descent yourself and figure out where you want to descend so that you can maintain control of the aircraft. So about 40 miles before top of descent, I will adjust the MCP altitude down to 9,000, and then also set the auto brake. Generally get ready for the descent. Turn on the seatbelt signs, no smoke. Even though we're pretty close to our top altitude, it's increased now because we burned off some fuel. So the recommended max right now is above 3.8. It's 381, flight level 381. But even though we're at 370, even earlier, we still have a good margin before the red bars there. So we're not really in Coffin Corner. Coffin Corner would be when this stall line comes all the way up here, and the red bars are up here, and you're kind of in this little area. And any little wind gust can throw you one direction or the other. Either you're stalling or you're overspeeding. And that's sort of what Coffin Corner is all about. That's if you try and fly at too high of an altitude for the weight of the aircraft. You can't fly fast enough to maintain the lift it needs without overspeeding. Another way to look at that is the angle of attack necessary for the airplane to sustain the lift it needs is too high, too close to the critical angle. The critical angle is where the aircraft will stall. And so as you get higher and higher at a given weight, the angle of attack goes up because you need to generate lift, and there's less air higher you go. So you have to either fly faster or you need to increase the angle of attack. Well, you can only fly so fast before you overspeed the aircraft, so the only way to do it is to increase the angle of attack. And at some point, you'll increase the angle of attack until it stalls. And that's what this bottom one here is. As you increase the angle, if I were to pitch up suddenly, you'd see this rise really fast. You see the wind gusts there that we just hit us? How that dropped the speed down? Well, if you're in an area where the difference between here and here is only 10 knots, just now we would have dropped below into this yellow range and probably would have activated alpha floor. Could have activated alpha floor, and that's a real problem. Now I edited this to get rid of this big space here, but for some reason with Fly Live I haven't been able to figure out when you save something, you go back and use it, it doesn't use what you saved, and then you can't find what you saved because it overwrites what you saved with something else. So this is the standard one that comes in it, but I moved all these things over so that there'd be nice spacing between them all, and I tried to put that in here, and I can't find it now. So it overwrote what I had, so I got to figure that out because I don't like this big gap right here. And there was supposed to be a progress bar up here too. I can't tell from here. I'll have to look at it later on stream. clouds now. Those look pretty good, if you ask me. Kind of just puffy, scattered clouds. I mean, that looks. I've done a lot of flying in aircraft, and I think I have about, at United, I have probably almost 800,000 miles of flying on United. Another 250 or 1,000 miles on Air China, and flying back and forth to Shanghai from San Francisco, and also to Taiwan, and probably another quite a few miles on China Airlines, which is the Taiwan airline. Different than Air China. Air China is Chinese. China Airlines is Taiwanese. Very good airline, by the way, in my opinion. But had a chance to see what things look like, and this looks pretty realistic, if you ask me. I'm hoping X-Plane gets their cloud act together so that looks like this. pretty good Discord, and so I thought what I would do is share a few pictures with you with some of our members. See how I can do this with, let me get the names in here. Let's see, how do we do this? Try that again. Best way, do it this way. Okay, so this is Kirk Stinson. Looks like a CRJ. There's me flying over the Swiss Alps. Very nice. These are some that I flew, that I took earlier. Here's Tim. Sacramento to San Francisco, Calstream. It was a Vatsim event. We have Ola Odumade. Hope I said Odumade. Hope I said your name right. United. Cloudy cruise over the Labrador Sea. It was in a 787. There's Tim climbing out of Frankfurt, climbing out of Houston, going all the way to San Antonio, Xpeng 12 in the Zivo. One of our members, Cameron and Dick. I took flying over Dubai. Here's Chris Johnson at Frankfurt. This looks like a real picture here. Graduation trip to Germany. Oh, fantastic. There's Kirk with another one. Looks like a real world 747. Last trip, the 747 was upper deck British Airways. It looks like a United. Also took one of the old 747s from San Francisco to Shanghai. Yeah, I used to fly on this aircraft many times. Many, probably more than 100 flights back and forth. And to the extent that I got to know the flight attendants, got to recognize me. And so, yeah. There's Johnson. Hello from the upper deck. He's the 747. Lufthansa. My chariot has arrived. Real world Delta flight from Boston. Nice pictures, guys. Ooh, look at this one. Michael Dugas, early takeoff out of Hawaii. Wow, that's nice. CRJ, Kirk. Get some study in on the CRJ. Ah, there it is, a 777. Jim snapped this guy at Houston. Descending into Albuquerque, it's like an E-Jets. Chris Johnson on an E-Jet. Yep, that's an E-Jet, sure. Okay. Nice photos, guys. Keep them coming. Certainly appreciate those. Top of descent here in 65 miles, so we're getting close. Okay, the FMC should also be telling us now about when we're going to be arriving, so 56 miles. So at 45, I'm going to start down. At 45, I mean I'm going to start setting up the, change the altitude and that kind of stuff. Okay, we have ILS 19 right. Oh, did I pick 19 right? I meant to pick 19 left, so let's get that figured out here. Not too late, I don't think. Left. Boom 4 mic. There it is. Insert. Make sure that they're all correct. Yep. Alright, there we go. Yeah, 19 left. Okay, perfect. Okay, no harm, no foul there. Okay, 46, so now I'm going to dial in over in the MCP altitude, which I forgot to do one day while we're streaming. I'm going to dial this down to 9,000. I was wondering why it wouldn't descend. Easy to forget stuff like this. Alright, so step out your smokes, buds. Turn on the seatbelt. Alright, and we want to set low auto brakes. Now we can actually come over here and we can check out our performance just to see how we're going to be doing. We're going to be coming into runway 19 left. And we got dry conditions. Apply the VTAR. Yep. And we're going to be, the landing weight is going to be, right now, where are we at? We are at 139.6. So let's say 139. Okay, from here we're going to go 139.0. Okay. Enter that. And let's see, apply VTAR. Low brake, idle, no thrust. At the runway. Oh, yeah, so we got plenty of stopping distance here. What if we go medium? Oh, that's way too much. Yeah, so we'll go low auto brake. 6,696 feet. 6,696 feet, and the runway is runway is 9,678 feet, so we have an extra 3,000 feet. Stream seems to be holding out there, and haven't had any more encoder errors. So we're about 20 miles or so top of descent. Nice solid cloud layer here. Yeah, look at those. Those clouds look good. Look at that scenery, this is amazing. Microsoft Flight Simulator for the win. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, that is pretty good. The sun reflecting off the water. Yeah. Descent 18 miles. Remember, 5 miles before that we're going to start down. Once we slow down and I select manually control speed at 240 knots, we'll activate final approach. So after we get to 9,000 feet at GM 426, we're going to want to descend down. Oh, it's going to, you got to hold 9,000 feet all the way around. Oh. And then Titla down at 5,000. So we're going to fly for quite a ways at 9,000, slowing down, and then we're going to get to a waypoint called GM 453. Actually, let me show you that. Okay, so right here, we have to be at 9,000 right here at 250 knots. 220 knots, 220, 220, 220, 9,000 still here. This is a very unusual approach. Usually you want to be doing constant descent approaches, but not at this airport. And then we'll head for Titla, and we need to be at 5,000 feet and 220 knots max. And then we'll intercept the runway, the ILS, will intercept it at, well, Titla here 5,000, so I want to be at 180 when I'm coming in here, flaps 2. So that's what we're going to do. And if we have to go missed, we're going to make a left turn, an immediate left turn out to 13.5 GME, 13.5 DME from Gulf Mike Echo. And then we'll get vectors probably. The missed approach altitude is 5,000, and then we can expect vectors by Oslo approach. Okay, so that's our descent briefing. Okay, so I'm going to descend, I'm going to start down now. And you'll notice that the aircraft will start down 1,000 feet per minute, and you'll see this little green dot here will go over the, well, I was talking and I'm doing the briefing, I didn't catch it in time. Normally this would have gone up and then you would have descended until it caught here and then it would have gone down. So now it's asking for more drag because I was a little bit late starting that. Now in this aircraft you actually have to initiate the descent. It won't go automatically, so you have to do what I just did there. I like to do that 5 miles before that descent point just so that it starts descending slowly before rocketing down to 4,300 feet a minute here. But I was a little tardy talking about the descent. So this should start to mellow out now. And I see the more drag went away. VNAV, this aircraft will descend to try to stay on the profile only with the speed within this window. So if your speed gets up against that window, you won't be able to descend and you'll see yourself getting off the profile. And so that at that point you're going to need speed brakes. So far we're good. We're in this window here. This window will get a little wider as we get a little bit lower. So we'll be good. We've got to watch the speed. We've got to make sure that we don't get up against that window. Because if you do, you can get very high very quickly. So far we're good. We're a little bit below the profile, but we're catching up. So speed's under control, 280 knots, which is what I wanted to descend at, not 330. So we're doing good here. Now in this managed descent, which is what it's called in an Airbus, alright. The speed will vary between here, so it's going to be an idle thrust. We're at idle thrust right now. You can see over here idle, and it'll keep it at idle thrust until the speed gets below this window, and then it'll bring in the thrust to try and stay over that window. And then if it gets over this window, gets up against here, it'll reduce the descent rate so we don't go over it into the red. So far we're good. Now we do have potential icing conditions here, so we need to pay attention to the temperature. So far we're minus 46 SAT, so we're pretty good. We don't have to worry about it until we get to around minus 10. Then we're still see this kind of moisture at minus 10 TAT, then we need to turn on the anti-ice. also want to make sure to get our replay on, so I do not want to forget the replay. I'll put it up here to remind myself. Okay, so it says loon up 250, so not right. Oh, we need to be at 250 knots here. Okay, let's get the speed brake out. Let's crank her down to 250 knots. That in the FMC? Yeah, why didn't it pick that up? Oh. Yeah, speed constraint did. Yeah, the aircraft completely missed that speed constraint. You know, we went back into managed speed, now it's here. So I don't know why it didn't pick that up. Should have picked that up earlier. So we're going to have to really watch it here because it's a little bit higher than 250, so we'll get some speed brake out now. Back on profile here. Watching this, if we our speed keeps creeping up, we'll have to air brake, use speed brakes all the way on down here. Get this right. Okay, we can put the ILS push buttons on. And let's see if we have anybody on Vatsim here. We do not, so nobody on Vatsim. So it's going to be Unicom all the way. Okay, we're on profile here. I think I'm just going to select 250. Okay, now since I've got control of the speed, I can come over to the performance page. Now we can actually get the weather, and we can actually get the performance page set up. So let's do that while we're coming on down. METAR 220 at 9, so let's get this set up here. Okay, the wind is 220, 9. Temperature is 9. Okay. Okay, QNH is 1012. Okay, now we're gonna over here. We're gonna activate the approach phase. Confirm. 137 is our V approach. Meaning our VREF, which is like it's called VLS in this aircraft, it's comparable to VREF in a Boeing, is going to be 132. So that means we got to land at 132, no less than 10 knots below 132. Okay, we need the speed brake out again. G447, we need to be below 12,000. Alright, so we're getting there. Strip's looking good. And at 18,000, we will turn on the wing light. It's the only one we can turn on because the landing lights are retracted. So we'll do that now so we don't forget. There we go. Actually, we're already below 240, so we can turn them all on. We're down at 250. Okay, so we'll turn them all on. We'll leave the taxi light in taxi until we get landing clearance. Okay, we can bring up the auto brake now. There we go. And I think we can fade out the music time being. Okay, fade out the music. Okay. Look at the speed brake again. I'm going to bring this down to 240 so we don't exceed. At some point we're going to have to slow this aircraft down to 220, so let's make sure we don't mess that up. So let's see where that is. 220 is going to be at, we've got GM 422, so got a ways yet. GM 422 is this one here. GM 422 is going to be this right here. We need to be 220 knots before there's the decel point. I'm going to start the replay now so that I don't forget. There it is. Okay. Ready. So we're looking good. We're below 250. Look at that scenery. Wow. I love these clouds. Okay, there we go. Beautiful cloud layers. Don't have any clouds right here though. What's the temperature? 0. So it's still that low when we get down in here. We'll have to turn on the anti-ice. So we're supposed to be 12 or below at this point here, and we're going to be right there. Max 250, and then we'll continue descending until we get to 9,000. Okay, we're at 12,200.9 to go. Okay, so it did that perfectly. It just missed the decel to 250 earlier. So otherwise it's been good. At 10,000 we'll ding the flight attendants and let them know we're below 10,000. They can start getting ready. TAT is now +2. So once we start our descent to 5,000, the rule of thumb, we want to be 180 knots at 2,000 feet above ground level with flaps 2. And then, so when we approach the glide slope, we want to be at 180 knots, flaps 2. And we'll intercept the glide slope. When we get to 2,000 feet, we'll lower the landing gear, manage up the speed, and extend flaps on schedule. Let's turn the sim up a little bit. Okay, so now we're at 9,000, and so we're going to have to be at 220 knots by this point here. So I think we'll begin slowing down, so let's dial it back to 230. We can now arm the speed brakes because we're probably not going to need them again. So we'll arm the speed brakes, there we go. Let's dial it back to 220, and we can dial in the next altitude of 5,000. And we're going to be right above green dot here. I think I'll extend flaps 1 to give us a little extra protection. We are 10 knots below. In fact, we want to be max 250, 220, so I like to go a little bit under so you don't exceed it. So let's go 250. So here we are right now, we're at 200 and we're below 220 knots, and we're going to fly all the way around here to GM 453, and then we'll make a turn here, a pretty sharp turn, and we'll descend to 5,000 feet by Titla on max 220. I want to be at 180 at this point though. Give us a chance to look at some of the scenery here in Norway. Part of Norway is fairly flat. Let's expand this a little bit. Here we can lower the range on this one. Yeah, it's green here, very beautiful. I was here in Oslo 1975, I believe. I came to Oslo. I took, had a summer off. I was part of a program with our high school. A bunch of high schools in our area got people together, actually from all over the country, and a few from each high school. And then we all flew together over to England for a week, and then we spent 10 weeks in St. Andrews, Scotland during the golf time. It was in July. I actually went to the British Open and played all the courses, golf courses around Scotland, around there, Carnoustie and the Royal Ancient Club, Glen Eagles, all those. And then after that, we spent a week. We took the ferry from Newcastle to Bergen, and then we took a train from Bergen to Oslo, and then we went from Oslo to Stockholm and took a train to Copenhagen, and then we took another train down to Paris and went home. Pretty fun. 10 to 12 weeks in all. Okay, I'm going to slow down to 210 knots here. Make it easier to hit our 180 mark. Then once we start our descent at 5,000, we'll do a vertical speed descent. See the little descent marker there, but we can't. We have to descend, or we actually cross that way. So as soon as we make our turn, then I'll start down. I'll be descend at 1,000 feet, maybe 1,500 feet a minute. We'll see where we want to arrive right at 5,000 in Titla, so we can just glide down to the glide slope, onto the glide slope without having to thrust up the engines. So I want to do a constant descent approach from this point. Coming around. Wow, look how nice this looks. Pretty nice here this time of the year. Imagine in the winter it gets pretty cold. Okay, we're going to start our descent here. So United 1067, descend to maintain 5,000. Descend to maintain 5,000, United 1067. We can also set our barometer here. To 10, what was it? I think it's 1012. Okay, so 1,500 is a little fast. You can see that we're gonna, so we want to descend much slower than that. Let's go to 1,000. The initial approach fix, Titla is going to be about 3,500. So once we get to Titla, we can go down to 3,500. Okay, so there, that's about right. So 1,000 feet, and this part here will intercept the ILS, and this part right in here. So let's go down a little bit slower. I'm going to put that blue arrow right on top of Titla there. So that's 600. There we go. Perfect. Get beyond it. There we go. And at this point we'll slow down to 200. So auto brakes are set, speed brake is armed, lights are on. When we get cleared for landing, we'll flick this onto takeoff. For flaps 1, 200, right on profile here. Yeah, they really bring you in slow here at this airport. Very unlike Heathrow. Now, Blanco Lirio had a really great channel. Juan Brown on Blanco Lirio was talking about arrivals into runway 25 at Heathrow. And he's a real-world 777 pilot. So what they do is they tell you you're cleared for the approach, and they give you a distance away, like 40 miles, 30 miles away. You're supposed to use that distance to calculate your descent rate so that you descend all the way onto the glide slope without the engines being spooled up. It's kind of a noise abatement thing, but it's also just good practice, so it's general. So you want to just glide down that. Those are true constant descent approaches. Those controllers really don't want to see you leveling off. And that's pretty common in Europe, is to have those kind of descent approaches. And this is kind of how you do it. Kind of just make sure you're constantly descending, you don't level off. If you're a little low, then you shallow out your descent. Even at 200 feet a minute, if you have to come in to intercept the glide slope, you're already below the glide slope. You don't need to descend down to the initial fixed altitude at 1,000 feet per minute. Dial it back to 200 and intercept hit the approach button and intercept the ILS, above your initial fixed altitude. Okay, we're going to dial it back to 180 now and get our flaps 2 out. Okay. VFE, not quite. Okay, VFE minus 10, so flaps 2. VFE is the flap extension speed. You want to be 10 knots below that. So they say VFE minus 10, and they don't say speed check. They say VFE minus 10 in this aircraft, and you extend the flaps. Okay, so we're going to descend even slower here. Dial in 3,500. So make sure we don't go below 5,000 here. And so let's put it at 3,000. Got 3 miles to go. So let's put it at 200 feet a minute. Sure we stay above 5,000, and then we'll increase the descent rate after we cross this point here, and then we'll intercept the ILS. We have our replay going, so we're good there. We're already at 180 knots, flaps 2, so now it's just a matter of descending down until we get below the glide slope. We should be getting glide slope indication here shortly. Okay, now we're going to go up to 500 feet. Go up to 600-700 feet a minute here. So this is Shinvo here. We want to be above 3,500 feet here. So there's our glide slope indicator. We just want to make sure that we're descending, so we need to go a little bit faster. We want to make sure we're descending so that stays, so we stay below the glide slope. So we're below the glide slope right now, and we can actually activate the localizer. So we're doing good. We can actually activate approach. And then we're going to want to set 5,000 here once the localizer captures. So So we can actually shallow that out a little bit. We're going to shallow this up a bit. Maybe 500 feet a minute. Let's go 400 feet. What you want to do is you don't want to see the glide slope going up. Okay. See this bounciness in here? Here we go again. Always about this altitude, you start getting this verbally action. Okay, I'm going to go 200 feet a minute here. Okay, we're going to capture the localizer. Loc is in blue. And when we capture the localizer, we're still descending technically. This goes green and we'll capture the localizer. I'm going to watch to make sure this MFA enunciates this. The FMA enunciates that. See how this is coming down? So we're going to be right on the glide slope. We're going to intercept the glide slope while the engines are pretty much at idle. Just having a hard time descending because of this Microsoft turbulence crap going on here. Okay, so there it is, Loc star, and then this should change to Loc. Once it captures it, Microsoft. Okay, there it is, localizer, and now the glide slope is glide slope star, and so we managed to do it without. We managed to descend continuously right down onto the glide slope. And as soon as this captures, it's going to be glide slope. We'll go green here. Oh, there it is. Okay, so now we're good. Now we can increase the altitude here to 5,000. Microsoft. Alright, let's make sure we're still streaming here. We're still streaming. Okay, we still got excellent settings. Okay, here we go. So we're headed on down the ILS now. We've got the missed approach altitude set. When we come in, we're going to vacate off to the right when we come in. Now at 2,000 feet AGL, we're going to extend the flaps and manage up the speed.
2,500.
And we want it to 137. Let's see if that's still the same. Let's go to performance here. 137. Yes, sir. So we're good. Oh, what's the minimum?
$2,000.
Okay. Gear down, manage up the speed, and extend flaps on schedule. Okay, VF, quite yet. Okay, there's VFE minus 10, flaps 3. And I want to check the performance here. Okay, we need to put it in 882 here. 882 for the barrel somehow. Okay, BFE minus, there we are, flaps full. Flaps are full. Okay, no blue. Landing checklist, no blue. Alert the flight attendants. We're clear to land. There we go. 1,000 feet, I'll take over and bring it in.
$1,000.
Okay. My aircraft. So far, so good. nose down. Okay, a little bit low.
500.
A little high, coming up. Okay, let's not get too low.
100 above.
A little bit low now.
200. Minimum.
Okay, we're coming in just perfect here. 50 feet over the numbers.
100. 50.
Okay.
40.
Flare gently.
30.
Walk back to
20.
throttle.
Retard. 5.
Set her down. There we go. Okay, straight down the runway. Reverse thrust. Okay, slow down. 80 knots. Okay, manual braking. And get off the thrust. Okay, there we go. And we're going to exit here to the right. Taxi the ramp. We want gate 49. Okay. Here we go. Ten knots. Make this turn. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to taxi down Tango to Lima and pull into the gate. All right, welcome to Oslo, everybody. Okay, flaps up. Spoiler down. Let's get the lights off here. Okay. Start up the APU, taxi light. Okay. Okay, now we can turn off the predictive wind shear. We can turn off the radar. Let's turn off the ILS push buttons in the flight director. And we'll leave this here at 100. The incoming crew. Okay, here we go. And should be enough. So start the APU. We're going to be parked right next to that. Looks like it'll be a 777 over there. $14.19, so we're about 9 minutes late, 10 minutes late. Is that the gate that I want, so we'll just pull in one next to it. Okay. Okay, so we'll pull into that one gate there right next to that SAS aircraft. And that'll be, that's 51, oh, 49. Yes. So we should be able to get 49. Should be this one here. Oh, it's 49. That's exactly the one we want. Perfect. Okay, let's get to 10 knots here. Let's come in here. And we want to turn off the taxi light here. Perfect. And turn on the APU bleed. Okay. And we got some guidance here. Okay, we'll slow it up a little bit. Slow it up, slow it up, slow it up. 6 meters. Slow it up. I don't know if that actually works. No, it doesn't seem to. Bring it in just where we need to. Bring it in right further. Right there. Okay, that's it. So we've arrived. So let's put on the parking brake. There it is. Oops. Parking brake. And we'll now turn off the transponder. And then we'll shut down the engines, 1 and 2. And we'll turn off the seatbelt sign. Okay. Get the bleed on, the APU is on. When the N2 gets to 5%, we'll turn off the beacon light. We'll make a note, 1422. 1422 Zulu. Okay, we're at gate 49. Bummer, another encoding error right at the end. Alright, definitely need to look into what that's all about. So, looks like all the way through the landing. Well, we have replay. So we're going to do a replay here. And let's shut off the replay. Let's stop the replay. There we go. Alright. Not sure when it stopped. Let's look at the A cars. Okay, so well, our A cars failed to start for some reason. Not sure what that's all about, so I don't actually know what the landing rate is. So it looks like seriously. Alright, well now we're going to take a look at the replay. So let's load up the replay. Not sure what's going on, if the stream's still going or if it's not going.
Terrain ahead. Pull
Okay,
up.
so let's get all this turned off. Turned off, there we go. Let's loaded. That's the scenery loading in here. I'm not sure if the stream is still going or not. I can't figure it out. Seems like it stopped. I don't know where it stopped. But it looks like it didn't stop. So got a few things to figure out. If we change the encoder, what I'm using is working reliably. Okay, so we're coming in. Wait till the scenery loads here. They move it up. Stop the screen myself, I'm not sure. Oh, it's still live. Okay, great. Alright, I couldn't tell if it was live or not. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm still learning about how this all works. So here we are coming in. I'm going to advance it up a little bit closer to the landing. And let's see. Whoops. Alright, there we go. Unfortunately, the A-cars didn't see that on board. Wait a second for the scenery to load in. That's deployed. That's probably because of the replay. How we keep this aircraft in the center line with this turbulent effect going on. Very, very challenging. There we go. Oh, better than I heard. I'm down the center line for the most part. Okay, not too bad. So let's take a look. I don't know what the landing rate was, unfortunately. Alright, so let's stop this and see the back is watching the front. Continuously. Go. Continuously. Let the scenery loading in here. I'm not sure if the stream is still going or not. I couldn't figure it out. Let the scenery loading in here. I'm not sure if the stream is still going or not. I couldn't figure it out. Let the scenery. This aircraft in the center line with this turbulent effect going on. Very, very challenging. There we go. Oh, better than I heard. Comes on the center line for the most part. Okay, not too bad. Like 40 mile, 30 mile, increase up the speed. It is. 10 knots. Got nose down. Okay, a little bit low.
500.
A little high coming up. Okay, let's not get too low.
100 above.
A little bit low now.
200. Minimum.
Okay, we're coming in just perfect here. 50 feet over the numbers.
100. 50.
Okay.
40.
Flare gently.
30.
Walk back to
20.
throttle.
Retard. 5.
Set her down. There we go. Okay, straight down the runway. Reverse thrust. Okay, slow down. 80 knots. Okay, manual braking. And get off the thrust. Okay, there we go. And we're going to exit here to the right. Taxi the ramp, want gate 49. Okay.